What's up, everybody? I don't know if you've noticed lately or heard about it. It hasn't really been on the news or people haven't really been talking about it that much, but gas prices have gone up a little bit from where they were, let's say, a year ago. Hachi machi! So today I've got this car to review. This is a 2022 Toyota Corolla Hybrid, and it is a car that is capable of a legit 50 miles per gallon, either in town or on the highway. And it's a car that's worth talking about. So what we're going to do today is we're going to review it. First, we're going to go over what is a Toyota Corolla. We're going to go over the tech specs on the car. We're going to measure out the cargo room. We're going to look at the passenger room, and we'll talk about the convenience and the safety features on this particular car. And as always, if some of that sounds good and some of it sounds bad, check the description below for timestamps. So first, let's talk about what is a Toyota Corolla Hybrid. And in my opinion, this is an extremely significant car. If you want to know what the automaker Porsche is all about, you look at a 911. If you want to know what Mercedes-Benz is all about, you look at an S-Class sedan. Chevrolet, probably the Suburban. For Toyota, you would look at this, the Corolla Hybrid. First of all, this is the 12th generation of the Toyota Corolla, which in and of itself is crazy. And believe it or not, this is the best-selling nameplate of all time. 50 million people have purchased Corollas over the fullness of history, at least up until this point. Obviously, they're still selling them. And Toyota was one of the main developers of the hybrid concept. They love hybrids, they build hybrids, they offer tons of hybrids. Now, they're just barely getting into the EV business, and they're going to release their first mainstream EV pretty much as I speak now, but I get the feeling their heart really isn't into it. So Toyota, are you guys going to make like a regular production EV and release that on the market soon? Yeah, I guess we will maybe. Oh, that's good. That's really cool. A lot of people are into the EVs these days. What are you going to call yours? Well, we're going to call it the BZ4X. Who gives a sh? So if we look at this Corolla Hybrid, we can really learn what Toyota as an automaker wants to do and what their vision of what an automobile should be is. And quite frankly, this is a very good car. It's a compact sedan. We're going to figure out if it has much room in it, but it's relatively nice to drive. Not that great because it is a Toyota Corolla, but still decent to drive. I'll put a link to a test drive video in the description, and it's incredibly fuel efficient. So let's get into the tech specs on it. So we'll talk about the tech specs now, and being a Toyota Corolla Hybrid, they're not super exciting sounding, but the result is pretty awesome. So what we have here is a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder gasoline engine with a relatively small battery pack and electric motor. It's not a plug-in hybrid, it's just a regular hybrid that regenerates its energy off of the road and also from the engine's power that can feed the battery as well. We have a total of 121 horsepower and 105 pound-feet of torque. Those are very underwhelming sounding numbers, but it feels faster than they would indicate because the electric motor gives you all that torque kind of right away. So don't let those numbers scare you off. This is a totally competent car as far as acceleration. Certainly not a hot rod, but it's more than able to keep up with traffic. The real exciting numbers are the miles per gallon. This car is rated at 52 miles per gallon on the highway and 53 in the city. And from what I've seen so far, those numbers are legit. So that is a really cool thing. The Corolla Hybrid gets amazing fuel economy and at a relatively affordable price. I don't know what your local dealer is doing with them these days, but I think the MSRP on this one was right around $28,000, which means that it was a fully loaded Corolla Hybrid. And what I mean by fully loaded is this one had the premium interior package with options, which added $2,025 to the price. To break that down, you do have a package for $500 that includes the blind spot monitoring and the rear cross traffic alert. That's certainly a package I suggest for $500. That's more than worth it. You'll get your money back when you sell the car on. You have a separate option package called the Premium Interior Package. This gives you the soft tech seats. It's kind of like a fake leather situation, but they look and feel nice. You also have heated seats in the front, a power driver's seat. heated outside rear view mirrors, and a leather trimmed steering wheel. That package by itself is $1,525, or you can combine both of them, as this car did, with the premium interior package with options for $2,025. So the base MSRP on this car was probably right around $28,000, and a relatively good value at that. Now it's time to get out our handy dandy laser measuring tape and measure out the cargo space. The length from the back of the trunk to the back of the back seat, with the back seat up, 3 feet and 4 inches. The width of the trunk of the Toyota Corolla at the rear of the trunk, which is the widest point, 4 feet 5 inches. If it wasn't already obvious, this car does have the optional factory rubber cargo mat in the trunk, and it's a very nice piece. The width towards the rear of the trunk, which is the narrower portion of the trunk, 3 feet 8 inches. The height of the trunk in the Toyota Corolla, 1 foot and 10 inches. The full length of the cargo area, with one of the back seats folded down, is 5 feet and 9 inches. But it should be noted that the Corolla Hybrid does not give you a flat load floor. With that back seat folded down, there's kind of a hump right there. So that does limit the usefulness of the cargo area with that back seat folded down. And if you need to lift something into the back of your Corolla Hybrid, you are going to need to lift it 2 feet and 4 inches. Underneath the cargo floor in the Corolla Hybrid, we've got some tools, and we've got an air pump, and we have an extended mobility kit. You do not get a spare tire with this car, but I discovered through my brute strength that that piece is removable. So it looks like if you really wanted a spare tire, you could put one in there. Toyota just decided not to. Now we're going to measure out the passenger space, and for this I like to use myself. I'm 6'5", so let's see if I can sit behind myself in a Corolla Hybrid. Okay, so as we can see, in the front seat, I can sit down. I have just enough room that my knees aren't hitting. My shoe came off. And if we go into the back seat, I have barely enough leg room. My head is kind of hitting the ceiling, but I'm kind of a strange individual in a lot of ways, and one of them is that my torso is much longer than my legs, so most of my height's in my torso. So you won't really have much trouble, I don't think, fitting your people in the Corolla Hybrid. It's a very roomy little car, I have to say. I'm impressed. Now we're going to start talking about the convenience features, and I'll start in the back seat as I typically do. And in the back seat of the Corolla Hybrid, you get pretty much nothing. No air vents, no USB ports. Now that's not so uncommon for the class, it's just something that I wanted to point out because when it comes to Corolla Hybrids, at least currently, Toyota only offers one package, the LE, and this one has all the possible factory options. So if you're looking for rear air vents or rear USB ports, you ain't gonna get them in this car. But you do get an armrest with some cup holders in it, so we got that going for us. Now moving up to the front of the Corolla Hybrid, and it is relatively well equipped up here. The first thing I'd like to mention is that the air conditioner is excellent in this car. It blows very cold. Not all cars are created equal in this regard, and it's a relatively hot day. I actually turned the engine on and have the air conditioner going now. Hope that doesn't give us too much noise, but it does have an excellent air conditioner, and it's the little things in life that make you happy. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard in this car. You do have to plug the phone in if you want to use either system. It's not a wireless system, but they are standard, so there you go. Satellite radio is also standard on this particular package. I'm pretty sure that's standard on all the Corolla Hybrids. It's not part of the additional options that this car has. As I mentioned earlier, we do have heated front seats and the Softex leather-ish trim interior. It's kind of a synthetic leather, but it looks very nice. It's a convincing imitation, and they are comfortable seats. We do have an 8-inch touchscreen in the center as standard, and a 7-inch multifunction display where the speedometer is. That's standard as well. The 8-inch touchscreen looks nice. It's pretty decent. Apparently you can download an additional navigation app and install nav in the car, but this one doesn't have it. That is kind of a Toyota thing. The smart key is standard as well. So you have the push button start, and you can just leave the key in your pocket or your bag, walk up, open the door, touch the little thing on the outside handle to lock the car. That's a nice convenient feature. I'm also a big fan of the LED lighting treatment on this car, especially in the front. Those are standard, I believe, on all new Corollas, and it really looks nice. The running lights look really cool. It looks good at night. I think Toyota did an excellent job with that, and it's cool that it's standard. That is a nice touch for the class, although that is kind of rapidly becoming the state of the art even on compact cars. I have a couple of criticisms for the features in the front, and it's kind of in the realm of the little things in life. So there is a relative lack of USB ports in this car. There's only 2 USB ports, one USB-A that's kind of right up underneath the screen to plug your phone in for the Apple CarPlay or the Android Auto. That also charges your phone. And then in the center console, we have a USB-C port and also a 12-volt kind of old school cigarette lighter style power outlet. It's not a cigarette lighter, but you could plug additional USB chargers in there. It just seems like for such a modern design, which this Corolla is, it should have a couple more USB ports. Most newer cars do. I find that to be a slight disappointment. And the other thing that I really figured out last night when I was doing my fuel economy drive in this car is there really aren't enough places to put stuff. There's not enough cubby holes. The little door handle, you can't put anything in there because of the way it's designed. The door pockets are not very big, and the center console is not very big. And, you know, this is a relatively small car, and it's a relatively inexpensive car, but even a base model Ford Maverick truck, which is even lower MSRP than this, has a lot more thoughtful design as far as places to put stuff. That's definitely a criticism that I have on this Corolla. I don't know if it would necessarily be a deal breaker for anybody, but it just goes to show you that Toyota has a fantastic reputation, but they're not always as good as you think they are. Now we'll talk about the safety features, and there are quite a lot of them. Of course, 10 airbags are standard. You have a backup camera standard. That is federally mandated, at least here in the United States. And again, this car has the option package with the blind spot monitoring and the rear cross traffic alert, which is an option package that I strongly recommend. The Toyota Safety Sense 2.0 is standard on the Corolla Hybrid, so that gives you the pre-collision system with pedestrian detection. Essentially, that means that if the car thinks it's going to hit something, whether it's an object or a person, it will beep at you to tell you to brake, and if you don't brake, it'll try to brake on its own to either prevent the collision or lessen the severity of the collision. You do have automatic high beams. You have full speed dynamic radar cruise control with the stop and go and the lane tracing assist. Those are both excellent. Not self-driving system, but sort of driver assistance systems. I've made a video on that previously on Toyotas that shows how it works, and I will put a link to that in the description. I highly recommend you check it out if you have one of these cars. Familiarize yourself with that system and use it because it's very, very convenient. You have road sign assist, which basically means it'll tell you what the speed limit is, where you're at, and tell you by how much you're braking that speed limit in my case. And of course you have the Toyota Star safety system, which is just the anti-lock brakes, the traction control, the anti-skid system. All those features have been federally mandated for years now, so it's not much worth bragging about, but Toyota did give it a cool name. Thank you so much for watching my review of this Toyota Corolla Hybrid. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and have yourself a wonderful day. Bye-bye.